Welcome back, Poorvesh, to
Welcome, Aadhi.
Tea Kadai Bench Shots. Today we're here to record episode number 4 of our
Hmm.
shots. And I'm here again with another classical story. This one is brought
Nice.
to us by Mahabharatham.
Oh, okay.
So this is one of my favorite stories of Mahabharatham. I honestly don't know the entirety of Mahabharatham, so I'll tell you this one part of it. This story
Okay.
revolves around a forest tribe's prince. His name is Ekalaiva. I'm going to tell you the Tamil names because I don't know the Hindi names. So Ekalaivan is the prince of the forest tribe, and his father is Hiranya. When Ekalaivan was once going around the forest, he saw this group of boys being taught archery. He was so enthralled by this art form of archery, he went back to his father and he said he really wants to learn. And he's so amazed by the way his teacher taught them, these kids, archery. So his father takes him, and the entire tribesmen all go to the teacher, asking the teacher that he teaches Ekalaivan archery. The teacher happens to be Drona. Drona, to the guys who don't know, Drona is the person who is the teacher who's teaching the Panchapandavas. Drona suddenly comes to realize that he is the son of a forest tribe. So he's a person of the forest tribe. He is not fit to learn from such a teacher because of caste,
Because.
creed, and whatever you guys want to name it. So he obviously refuses, and Ekalaivan is completely heartbroken. He hides in the bushes for the next few weeks, and he tries learning as much as he can. And then he builds a statue out of clay as well as he can with his own hands of Drona. And he sets the statue in front of him. And then every day he practices archery. He listens to Drona, and then he comes back and he practices his own art form. This keeps going for a few months, I think a year. It just keeps going. He learns and learns and learns without actually having a formal teacher. One day, a dog, one of the Panchapandava's dogs, gets a smell of Ekalaivan and runs towards him. And Ekalaivan is shocked because as he's hiding and listening to Drona, the dog's bark is going to alert them and it's going to get him caught. So what he does is he carefully takes out an arrow. By the time the dog is able to get the sound of the bark out, he shoots an arrow into the dog's mouth so precisely, so carefully that it does not make a cut in the dog's mouth. The arrow is carefully placed within the throat even before the sound comes out. The dog cannot shout, so it runs back to the Panchapandavas, and then Arjuna sees it. Arjuna sees it, and then he realizes that the arrow is not puncturing the dog. He's amazed who could have done this. Because even if you use your hand, you can't put an arrow in a dog's mouth. So he tells this to Drona, and Drona shouts out saying, "Who is there?" And because his teacher is calling him, he cannot refuse. Ekalaivan comes out. And then he's like, "Who is your teacher? Such for you to have such amazing control of your arrow. Who could be your teacher?" And then Ekalaivan, to everybody's surprise, said, "It is you. You are my teacher." Arjuna is completely shocked, angry because Drona many years ago promised that he would make Arjuna the greatest archer of all time. If anybody knows the Mahabharatam to
One
extent,
jealous cunta that guy is.
yeah, any extent Mahabharatam, you will realize that Arjuna is not really the greatest archer. He just wants to be. Karna is a better archer than him. Ekalaivan is a better archer than him. But something is spoiling his plan, their plan,
He's one
and he
entitled prick. The definition of an entitled prick
yeah.
is Arjuna. Oh my god.
So in the end, he gets so angry. He brings back the promise that Drona makes, and Drona, without any other choice, or I mean, this is a debated part. If Drona does it without choice, or Drona does it because of his dharma, he asks for Guru Dakshina. Guru Dakshina, for the people who don't know, is uh, in earlier times when there was no concept of paying the teacher, you have to give your teachers a gift, whether it's gold, land, food, whatever. And then he asks Ekalaivan for Guru Dakshina. Ekalaivan, without hesitation, he says, I will give you anything that you ask for. And then Drona makes the very iconic, very symbolic ask as a gift. He asks for Ekalaivan's right thumb. You will realize that without your right thumb, you can never hold the arrow. If you want to switch your hand to your left, you will never be able to hold the bow. So even if he masters how to do archery with his handicap, he will never ever again be as good as Arjuna. And without hesitation, Ekalaivan takes out his knife and cuts off his right thumb, hands it over to Drona, and just keeps walking, thanking Drona for being his teacher. And I just think it's a very beautiful story. But in the end, Ekalaivan does not die there. Ekalaivan is actually killed in battle of Dwaraka by Krishna. His son later
By
becomes
Krishna.
Krishna
Another
ends up
cunt,
killing him.
man.
Yeah. In the end, okay. Today, in today's popular culture, the highest sportsman award in Karnataka government is the Ekalaiva award, and there is a Ekalaiva temple.
That's good shit, dude.
Yeah.
Once we become big enough, we'll have Ekalaiva merch.
Yeah, Ekalaiva merch would be a great idea. Ekalaiva is one
Yeah.
of my favorite characters out of Mahabharatham. He's a very
Ekalaiva.
wholesome character.
Dan wholesome, right? Like he's a true artist and sort of defines what he did everything. He wanted to learn archery. He didn't even want to use archery, right? He just wanted to learn archery.
Yeah.
He
just wanted
learned
to learn
archery, and then it's like, okay, you're fair enough. I'm not saying what Drona did was right, and I think I've expressed my feelings about Arjuna, but and I don't know, man. Like it talks about a lot of things, right? Societally, like who can learn, who is like my dad keeps saying this, okay? Especially this is true in Indian context where the concept of the access to knowledge is just shunned. People aren't allowed to know, right?
Yeah.
How do you save money on your taxes? We'll never tell you. Your neighbor will be saving a lot of money on his taxes. That guy will never tell you. Why is there such an inhibitance in our culture to share knowledge, right? And there are several
Knowledge
things to
was
this.
always looked at. Yeah.
There are several explanations to it,
Like
but
knowledge is, yeah.
but this story reflects that practice very well.
Like since the story is written, hundreds of years have passed, centuries have passed, but the practice still remains the same. I think that's another beautiful aspect of the Mahabharatam. It's a very timeless literature. You can always relate many of those characters to yourself, to the people around you, to current affairs, to current events. I think it's just and especially such a character like Ekalaivan, who is barred from learning his craft only because of the way and the place he's born.
Yeah, and we were discussing real life Ekalaivan's before this recording started. We did Newton versus Leibniz last episode, right, on the shorts. Aadhi brought up Michael Faraday and how go. You want to tell that story?
Yeah, Michael Faraday is also a very interesting story, very similar to Ekalaivan. He was born into poverty. He never had a formal education, and he used to work in bookbinding factory, in a mill exactly. And he used to study and read books of science in his off time, and that is how he learned science. He later became one of the most influential scientists of any time. He invented generators that we use today. Most of the scientists are based on the work that he did. And until his death, he was never inducted into the Royal Society because he didn't have formal education. Yeah, because he didn't have formal education. The man led a very depressed, sad life, but he shall be remembered with a cheerful note.
Yeah, and maybe units that depict charge. That's how we'll be remembered.
Yeah,
And Ekalaivan will be remembered through our merch once we become big enough.
big enough. We
Yeah,
should definitely make Mahabharatam much with
I
Karna,
think we should make
Ekalaivan.
Mahabharatam with a slightly என்ன சொல்றது, not so pandering to the Pandavas
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Don't pander to the Pandavas. That should be the series name.
Well, that's the beauty of it, right? Like Mahabharatam is actually written for so many people. There's so many people mentioned, so many kinds of people mentioned in it,
And so
and
many
very few.
threads. So
Yeah,
many threads. Like that whole war and the what that whole family dispute is just one aspect of the story. It's just a large scale. I don't know. I really do. I sometimes question if you can call the Ramayana an epic, but you cannot dispute the Mahabharatam as being called an epic.
yeah. Without doubt. Uh, there's many arguments about the quality and the writing and everything, but for me, it's one of the greatest epics. If when in doubt, you can always reuse Mahabharatam. Uh, there's so many so many Manirathan movies based on Mahabharatam. Talabadi is a great example. If you guys did not know, Talabadi is actually the story of Karna,
It's amazing.
just retold with modern equivalents.
And if I don't know about Rajini being Karna, but I think Arjuna was portrayed there. You didn't like Aravind Sami, but he was portrayed as the good guy. That's why I like Talabadi a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah. So it's a timeless piece.
Yeah. On
Great
that
story.
on that comment of the Mahabharatam and I think timeless stories and depictions of real life, we'd like to conclude this episode of Kadai Benchu Shorts. Thank you for listening. Nandri.
Vanakkam.